Way of knockout. Fighting out of Fresno, California, here is the 17-time amateur national champion and 2-time amateur world champion, introducing Marc Castro.
All right, gentlemen, your trunks look good and your trunks look good. We covered the rules in the dressing room so you know my expectations. But as a reminder, watch your heads coming in. No punching in the back of the head or the back, and keep the punches up. Above all, protect yourself at all times. Obey my commands at all times. Touch gloves now and back to your corners.
Oh, Maickol.
Marc Castro 8-0 with 6 knockouts, and Maickol Lopez on your screen 16-3 with 8 knockouts. We are underway with our 3rd fight here on Before the Bell, and we are joined by the 17-0 Jesse Bam Rodriguez. This is really weird to not call you a champion at the moment. How you doing, man?
I'm doing really good. Happy to be here. Appreciate you guys having me for this co-commentary, and I'm excited to see how this fight goes.
We are all moving toward the main card coming up at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific on the Zone. The main event, of course, Estrada-Chocolatito, the trilogy, as Marc Castro is in the red, green, and gold trunks. Lopez in the white trunks with the red and green going down the side as Mexico labeled on the back. These are 2 proud fighters with Mexican heritage. And Castro looking to remain undefeated and improve to 9-0. Castro whacks Lopez with a right hand to the body. Jesse, you have seen a lot of these fighters that come up on Before the Bell now over the course of 2022. We've seen a lot of Marc Castro. What stands out to you when you watch him fight?
He's very technical. He's unorthodox at times, but that's just his style. That's how he fights. But it's a special kind of style that you don't see in many fighters. He knows what to do and when to do it. So it's very exciting to watch because you never know what he's going to pull out of the trick book.
A lot of critics will say, yeah, he has a unique style, and because it's so unique, because it's something that they've never seen before, they question how far it could take him. But look, something could work for an individual, and I feel like that's what we have here in the case of Marc Castro.
Yeah, exactly. Like you said, it's something that people don't see many times. So even as a fighter, it throws him off a little bit fighting a style like that. But like I said, Marc knows what to do and when to do it. So it works to his advantage at all times.
Castro sometimes being able to bait his opponents forward, and then as they come inside ready to throw, he's able to crack them with some punches as they encroach. He tries to wail at Lopez with a couple of right hands, and he connects along the ropes. Now they move back to the middle of the ring. Castro coming off a sensational 5th-round knockout against Montiel back in Las Vegas. He said earlier this week that is easily his most impressive knockout as a pro. Seen a couple of quality right hands that have landed here. Both rights and lefts touching the chin of Maickol Lopez as the 1st round winds down. Marc Castro and Maickol Lopez. This one's scheduled for 8 here on Before the Bell. Castro coming out with some quick lightning rights and lefts, and there a stiff jab to Lopez. Castro said after that knockout in his last fight in September that he saw a lot of shots there for the taking, but it was his dad, Tony, and even Eddie Hearn. They were both telling him, uppercut, uppercut. And he felt that if they saw something, he might as well throw the uppercut. It led to the fight being stopped. You ever hear Eddie Hearn while you're in the ring?
I've never heard him. Sometimes I barely even hear my own coach, just because I'm so locked into the fight. But, I mean, Mark must have heard Eddie Hearn pretty clear because he put that guy's lights out.
He's on the attack here against Lopez. Just over 2 minutes to go in the second round. Castro wailing away. Punches, some of them a little wide. He has a compact stance here in front of Lopez. This is the first pro southpaw that Marc Castro is fighting. Castro said that Lopez is pretty fast, but he likes to come forward with his hands down, so that he needs to be ready for Lopez to come forward with a lot of shots. We're seeing it slightly, Jesse. The hands of Lopez, not all the time protecting the chin.
Yeah, I guess that's just maybe how he started his boxing career, and it just became a habit. But against Marc, you better pick those hands up because, like I said, Marc's explosive. You never know what he's gonna pull out the trick book. But don't get me wrong, Lopez came to fight. He's still in there. He's taking Marc's shots pretty fair right now, but it's only a matter of time before they start breaking him down.
Castro's trying to impress here in his second straight 8-round fight. Lopez moving forward with the jab. He's met by Castro. We were saying before the top, right before the start of the ring walks, as Castro puts together a 4-punch combo. He's going to be visiting El Salvador coming up in a couple of weeks as more punches land for Marc Castro and visit with the El Salvadorian boxing president. Good wax Lopez with that body shot. Right uppercut coming inside from Castro. Lopez coming away with a wide left hook. He lands there. Castro looking pretty sharp and focused for 2 rounds. All right, Jesse. Main event coming up later on tonight. Obviously, Estrada-Chocolatito. I asked Alicia this when she was on set earlier, but for someone who has competed in this division, as we take a look at some of the work that Marc Castro did in round 2, who do you think needs to be more aggressive out of the gate? Is it Juan Francisco Estrada or Ramon Gonzalez?
I believe both fighters, but more Chocolatito coming off of the loss in the second fight. I believe he's gonna, try not to leave it in the judges' hands this time and finish it off before the final belt.
Ramon Chocolatito Gonzalez, career win number 52, and trying to exact revenge in a fight that he felt he won back in March of 2021. That is coming up later tonight on DAZN here from Desert Diamond Arena. Start of round 3 between Marc Castro and Maickol Lopez. Castro in the red trunks, Lopez in the white. Scheduled for 8 rounds. Lopez is trying to avoid dropping 2 straight fights for the first time in his career. Castro doing a very good job changing levels with his combinations. When he tags him with the right hand, he might have stunned Lopez. Castro trying to work along the ropes now. Jesse, when you were coming up with less than 10 pro fights under your belt, at what level was your desire to impress at versus just finding a way to win?
Yeah, I really decided to impress when I got my first opportunity to fight on television. It was on Premier Boxing Champions or something like that. But I knew that was the opportunity right there to let everyone know who Bam Rodriguez is, and it played out well.
Do you remember what number fight that was?
I think it was only my 6th fight.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I went straight into 8 rounds for that one.
Castro coming away with a 1-2 combo and another one there. Backs it up with a left hook. He swipes him with a right hook. Castro has found location with several of those punches so far. Solid combinations from Castro. Lopez beating him, though, with a couple of counters. An overhand left. Castro continues to pepper him with those left hands. Left hooks most often there. This is the game plan, though. If his opponent is going to entertain a try and bang with him, Castro said he's ready to roll with that, but this is it. Put together combinations, find landing targets, wear your opponent down, and Marc Castro may be doing just that here in the closing moments of round 3.
This guy's tough. He doesn't want to back down. He's here to prove a point.
Maickol Lopez standing tough, trying to trade with Castro. But the 23-year-old from Fresno at the moment controlling the pace. Good shot in there from Lopez as the seconds and the bell sound here in the 3rd round. Taking a look at some of the action from round 3. I think that sequence where Lopez tried to step away, that's where he gets hurt, Jesse, because his hands are down. Something that Castro pointed out.
Yeah, I mean, either way, going backward or forward, he's going to be in trouble with Marc. But I feel like when he came forward is when he started getting caught with more punches.
4th round, gentlemen.
So here we go with round 4 between Castro and Lopez. Marc Castro entering an 8-0 with 6 knockouts. We're finding a crack in the armor of Maickol Lopez near the end of that 3rd round. Lopez 16-3 with 8 knockouts. Castro continues to go to work. We were talking about the education that a young pro like Anthony Herrera was able to receive as he was finding success in 2022. Castro falls along a similar track. First fight as he entered 2022, look, he entered the year 5-0, 5 knockouts. It looked like he was flawless. Then he gets knocked down in his first fight in March against Julio Madera. Finds a way to hang tough, get back through as he lands a 3-punch combo against Lopez. Goes the distance in that fight, goes the distance on a Canelo undercard in May. Then the big knockout in September. Castro said he has learned you can't rush to finish your opponent, and that not every guy is going to be able to get out early in a fight. He said that the main thing that he's learned this year, though, was more about unlearning a lot of the stuff that he was taught in the amateurs. Because the pros are a whole new game of picking up your spots and actually playing mind games. Do you agree with that?
That's what you want to see in a fighter coming up in the pro ranks. You want to see them get better every fight, and that just shows a sign that Marc has the right team behind him, and he's having the right camp. So I'm excited to see what Marc's future holds for him.
the mind games kind of go in line with his style from what you see? How does Castro play mind games, Justin?
He's very unorthodox at times. He's relentless as well, brings up the pressure the whole fight, and it's just hard to fight against a fighter like that. But he's having a lot of success right now against Lopez.
Got smacked with the right hand moments ago. Lopez kind of put his head down and started wailing with overhands, trying to find something that could work here against Marc Castro, 17-time amateur champ. And coming up on Before the Bell, the main event, Austin Amel Williams going up against Simone Madsen. That's after this one. Then the main card on the zone at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific. Castro punching with Lopez on that exchange. It was something Castro did in that September fight against Montiel Mendoza. It led to an uppercut, stopping the fight. And here he just tags away on Maickol Lopez, connecting with an impact left hand. And Castro with the onslaught to end things in the fourth.
See Maickol Lopez taking big breaths, exhales in his corner. What's going on through the mind of a guy like Maickol Lopez right now as he's in that position ahead of the start of round 5?
Like I said, he's probably fell into the mind tricks of Marc Castro. He probably doesn't know how to keep Marc off of him, so it's probably frustrating him.
Lopez coming forward here in the opening moments of the fifth. And more trademarks of Castro putting together combinations and periodically fighting on that back foot, trying to move his record to 9-0.
Lopez has a really great chin, so I feel like if Marc Castro went to the body a little bit more, he'd be able to get him out of there. But a guy like Lopez, they can take the face shots all night and keep coming.
We'll see if that's the approach moving into the fifth and then the later rounds, the 6th, 7th, and 8th. Did he try and wear him down with the body? Here, the head seems like it's no problem. Castro pushing back Lopez with some shots to the head.
Good body shot right there by Marc.
One coming in close range. Snaps Lopez head back with the jab. Lopez fighting in his third match scheduled for 8 rounds. This is his second U.S. fight. He fought once in Puerto Rico, but the rest of his 17 pro matches have taken place in Mexico, specifically in Mexicali, where he's from. The hands are down from Lopez. They work in the middle of the ring. And Castro finds his seam to get that left hook behind the right hand of Lopez. 1 minute to go here in the fifth. As Marc Castro is punching in volume in his final fight of 2022. Final 30 seconds here in the fifth. Marc Castro using that lead left hand again, the fadeaway punching. Punching on the move. I tell you what, I know you and I talked about at the very top with Chocolatito. There are a number of guys, obviously it's not to the level of Chocolatito, but there are a number of guys on this card who do a good job punching in transition. Castro kind of showcasing that a little bit in the 5th. Some of the replays from the 5th round, and again, the punches from Castro with some pinpoint accuracy. They're finding a way to get the guard of Lopez, whether it's that wind around left hook or the straight punch to the head. Castro facing a durable opponent in Lopez, but these rounds are important. They're invaluable for a young fighter.
Yeah, Marc, he's doing very well. He just needs to keep it up. Like I said, maybe go to the body a little bit more and break Lopez down. Lopez taking those chin shots all night, so I think a body shot will end it. Body shot will end anybody, so we'll see.
Is that something you're usually able to pick up on your own in real time, or does it have to come from your corner in between rounds that, hey, there's a lot of durability upstairs, you may have to start trying to wear him down downstairs?
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes it just depends on the fighter, or it depends on your corner as well. I know sometimes I like to do my own thing and I forget about what my coaches tell me, and when I go back to my corner, they check me on what I'm supposed to be doing, so we'll see how this plays out.
It all leaves you at certain moments.
Exactly.
That's one thing that Marc Castro said clicked for him in his last fight. He was able to hear his father's words of advice in the corner, apply it in real time. It led to a devastating knockout over Montiel Mendoza. He's put together good work here through 5 rounds or so in his final fight of 2022. Maickol Lopez on the retreat here in the 6th round. Now coming forward. Castro still throwing his hands. And that left hook finding a home for Marc Castro. Swipes him with the right hand. That landed cleanly. Castro showing no problems so far through with a fight that is scheduled for 8, his second consecutive 8-round fight. 3-punch combo from Castro. Final one, the left hook landing. Back comes Lopez. There's no quit in Maickol Lopez, the 27-year-old southpaw. Castro was able to get him to the ropes, but he said, come on, let's go. Let's move back to the middle.
Exactly. Marc wants to fight.
And he launches a right hand back to Lopez. Final 15 seconds here in the 6th round. Solid movement from Castro, able to tag up the defense with a combination. Another stiff jab, snaps the head back of Lopez, and a good 2-punch combo. Fireworks at the end of the 6th round for Marc Castro. All right, and we've seen Anthony Herrera already on Before the Bell. We have Marc Castro here. There's Diego Pacheco now on the main card. There are other prospects out of the U.S. stable for Matchroom. Rashad Mahdi comes to mind as well. Which of American prospect here with Matchroom stands out to you the most?
I'm a fan of Diego Pacheco. He's very lengthy, very tall. He's big for the weight class. Every time he steps in that ring, it's excitement. So I can't wait to see his fight.
That is coming up a little bit later on tonight. Pacheco and Luna on the main card in Diego Pacheco's first regional title defense. Start of the 7th round here on Before the Bell. Our third match of 4 scheduled on Before the Bell. Marc Castro, Maickol Lopez. Castro in the red trunks, Lopez in the white. And it has been all Marc Castro. Tough to see other than Castro at the moment pitching a shutout on the scorecards. Lopez connects with a right uppercut. And Castro punching with Lopez here. The first 35 seconds of the 7th round. Jesse, you've continued to say maybe since the 4th round, hey, the durability is there. You may need to go to the body if you're Marc Castro to try and break him down a little bit. Hasn't gone to that direction just yet. Is it, I don't want to call it, stubbornness isn't the right word, but the 7th, the 8th round, is this the type of time where maybe Castro or his corner said, all right, your punches are obviously looking crisp, they're looking sharp, they're accurate, but now you need to put the foot on the gas here? Yeah,
I've noticed Marc has been going to the body with the right hand, but Lopez, he's even able to take those, so credit to Lopez, he's just a tough fighter overall. There's fighters that you just can't get out of there no matter what you throw at them. So, I mean, maybe if Marc picked it up a little bit, put the foot on the pedal, he might be able to get him out of there, but Lopez is tough.
Lopez has been stopped once before in his career, again, 16-3. Castro continuing to throw some combos to the head of Castro. To Lopez, rather. Less than a minute to go in the 7th round. Bam Rodriguez with us here. We had Alicia Bumgarner with us earlier on Before the Bell. Richardson Peachin scheduled to join us at the end of Before the Bell as well. Marc Castro, who's dictated this fight in the middle of the ring, now working along the ropes, and he slugs a big right hand against Lopez. Another one.
Lopez might be stunned.
It looks like a little wobbly on his feet, near the ropes again, and Castro may be smelling blood. Another big side swipe with the right hand from Castro. Overhand right now from Marc. Lopez is off balance. Those right hands finding a home for Marc Castro here in the 7th round. Lopez going down in the final seconds of the 7th, and out comes the mouthpiece. They're going to have to put that back in. He seems like he wants to continue, but he also wants to get some time to catch his breath. And it's going to intertwine with the end of the round as well. An exclamation point there at the end of the 7th. So a 7th round knockdown for Marc Castro. All that punishment piling up here for Maickol Lopez.
Exactly. He looks fatigued. I think Marc should jump on him in this last round and get the job done. I believe Lopez is ready to go. Yeah, Marc has 3 minutes to take him out.
For the type of year that we were talking about with Marc Castro, how not every fighter needs to get checked out via a stoppage. Be maybe a little bit more disciplined. It's more of a mind game here. You have one round after what transpired here at the end of the 7th. If you're Castro, if you're his father Tony as well in the corner, what's being discussed?
I would tell Marc, go for it. He just dropped Lopez at the end of the 7th. Looks like Lopez is ready to go, so I think Marc should put his foot on the pedal.
Here we go, 8th and final round, off a 7th round knockdown by Marc Castro. See if he can close the show against Maickol Lopez early, or will he go the distance? Either way, it has been a fantastic closeout to a 2022 for Marc Castro so far.
Marc also has to be a little careful because Lopez as well, he knows it's the final round. It's his last chance to show something, so he's going to come with everything.
Castro saying aggressive, staying consistent with his combinations. It's the right hand that continues to hurt Lopez. Oh, straightened him out with a right uppercut. Lopez is back, Castro moving forward and continuing to launch right hands that have been very effective against Maickol Lopez.
Another right hand by Marc.
Castro is evading any punch that Lopez is throwing and then following it up with a multiple count of punches. Trying to go to the body there with the left hook. Credit Maickol Lopez for standing tough here in the 8th round, trying to make it out with the full 8 rounds under him against Marc Castro. Saw how dejected, how frustrated he was for going down, needing that moment to catch his breath in the 7th. Here he comes inside and tries to trade with Castro. Marc moving around, circling. Fight in the middle of the ring. As Castro, if he's going to try and impress, go for that knockout, it seems like he's just going to be doing it his way.
Exactly. I believe Marc, he might have seen that Lopez is very tough, probably won't get out of there in the final minute, so he's just playing with him, he's boxing him, playing it smart, not risking getting caught by a lucky punch.
Punch combo there from Castro. Final 25 seconds here in the 8th and final round. Marc Castro with a workshop on fast hands, combinations, non-stop action against Maickol Lopez. And here comes Lopez. Again, the Mexican heart rising up, and he finds a way to go the distance against Marc Castro, but overall, this was a very sound and impressive performance to close out what has been a terrific 2022 for Marc Castro. Castro putting in the work. Got 4 matches here in 2022. He comes away victorious in all of them. All of them a little bit different. We saw something different in each of them, but throughout the year, it's all been impressive. And that's good to see. Maickol Lopez smiling at the end here after 8 tough rounds where at times he was a pinata against Marc Castro, especially with that right hand, Jesse.
Exactly. I see a knot on the back of his head. That just goes to show the damage that Marc did. Great fight by both fighters, though. Props to both fighters. Props to Lopez for going the whole 8 rounds, and Marc, props to him for looking good the whole 8 rounds. Very great fight.
It's highly likely Castro will be improving to 9-0. Wait to see what the judges say, but it was a dominant performance for the 23-year-old. All right, 9 fights in for Marc Castro, and he could be on the verge of improving to 9-0. 2 8-round fights now under his belt as well. The first, he stops his opponent in impressive style. Here he goes the distance in arguably equally impressive style, controlling the way the entire time against a tough Mexican in Maickol Lopez. Let's make it official as we go into the ring with David Diamante.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 8 rounds of action here at the Desert Diamond Arena, all 3 judges scored this bout identically, 80-71. All 3 for your winner by unanimous decision. He's still undefeated, Marc Castro.